Just to introduce Baroda Asset Management Company, it's got a history which is going back to almost more than a decade ago. Pioneer stepped into this company in 2008 and then they left again 2 years back. Right now we are a 100% subsidiary of the bank. It provides a unique advantage of having a strong parentage in terms of the legacy of the bank as well as the distribution, as well as it provides a very good independence in terms of operations, which is run by a bunch of professionals. Just to give you a little bit of an introduction about me, I have about 32 years of work experience. Large part, the last 10, 12 years has been on active fund management. I'm the CIO of Baroda Asset Management Company. Prior to this, I was a senior fund manager in Little Asset Management Company. I spent close to about 20 years on the sell side, working with various companies. I was the head of research at SBI Capital Market. And prior to that, I was working with Motilal Oswal, etc. So I've got a long history of very strong background in terms of equity research. So today I'm going to introduce one of our upcoming NFO, the Baroda Large and Mid Cap Fund. The fund objective is, of course, to provide long-term capital appreciation by investing in equity and equity-related assets. It's the right blend of market cap. It's an optimum mix of the market cap, both in the large and the mid cap. The large cap will actually provide the consistency in terms of the performance, and the mid cap would provide the potential for growth out there. There's a minimum 35% investment in large cap, minimum 35% investment in mid cap. So that's the range which has been provided. The exposure to mid cap would actually help in providing the restrict the downside in the market, while the mid cap will ensure that it provides the growth momentum. So that was the fund objective. The second part is what's going to be this. The strategy of this Baroda Large and Mid Cap Fund would be, it'll be a diversified fund, diversified across sectors, as well as we'll be investing in a multitude of very high quality stocks. Minimum investment in large cap would be 35% and mid cap would be 35%. For sectoral allocation, we'll have a top-down approach where we will look at macro factors concerning the economy as well as the sector factors, broad parameters out there, and we'll decide on the allocation of the sectors. For the stock selection, we use a bottoms-up process for company selection within the sector. We follow a principle, what we call the GARP philosophy. That's growth at a reasonable price. We are very much keen on looking at companies which are growth oriented, and we really don't mind paying a premium for that kind of a growth. And historically, we've seen that it actually results in very good success out there. So whom is this Baroda Large and Mid Cap Fund suited for? This fund is suited for investors who are looking at creating wealth over a longer period of time. Secondly, for investors who are looking for diversified blended portfolio with above average returns potential with relatively less volatility. Three, investors looking for an optimal mix of market cap between the large and the mid cap. The large and the mid cap accounts for almost 90% of the total market capitalization in the country. The way this fund is positioned, it's actually just a little above the large cap fund in terms of risk reward. And we do believe that investors who are probably first time investors can also look at it, provided they're willing to bear some bit of a volatility of the equity markets. Finally, how does this fund actually play out during volatile times, the large and mid cap volatility? What we've observed in the last 10 to 15 years, the large caps tend to be a lot less volatile compared to the mid caps. The beauty of mid caps is during a bull market or an upturn market, we've seen mid caps tend to perform much better than the large caps, and they tend to give better returns. If you look at the entire bull market starting from 2005 to 2008, or even during the recent times, we've seen mid caps have generated a far superior return, better returns than the large caps. However, on the downside, the reverse is also true, and the large caps actually provide lower volatility in the returns out there. Finally, how have the category, the large and the mid caps, performed during the pandemic period? What we've seen once the COVID-19 was well known and well documented, we found that the entire market fell significantly, and there was very little differential fall between the large caps and the mid caps. But what we've seen in the last couple of months, when the lockdown had opened up, the mid caps have rallied far more than the large caps, and they've generated a better return out there. Probable one reason could be that the valuation gap between the large and the mid cap has come off very significantly. In the last, starting from 2015, 2016 till 2018 and 19, the mid cap valuation had gone at a significant premium to the large caps. Of late, in the recent times, we've seen the valuation come off for the mid cap. Currently, the mid caps are actually trading more or less in line with the large cap. And if there's a recovery, as we've seen once the lockdown is opened up, the mid caps have performed much better now. So the fund opening is on August 17th. It will be kept open till August 31st, and I think it's a very good opportunity to invest in this fund. There are two plans which are there, the growth as well as the dividend. You can choose the plan which you think is suitable for your risk appetite, and I think this is an all-weather fund which should be a part of one's portfolio. Thank you for your support.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.